What is up, my babies? Welcome to the Demigodest show. We are going to go ahead and do a movie review. I know in some of my last lives, people have been commenting, they have been commenting, asking for me to do a movie review. So I did go and see Aquaman, about 2 weeks ago, I think. So I do want to review this movie. I do have some other movie reviews to give you guys. One is from Netflix. One I saw off of the Roku TV. It's an old school movie called Psychotic Woman. That was very interesting to say the least for that. And then there's a couple movies that I do want to see that I've saved on some of my streaming services. And there are some really good movies that are in the movie theaters right now. It just depends on where you're located if they're playing in those areas. So maybe I might go to the movies this weekend and then I'll have something that's more current. But if not, I'll look at other movies and then I'll do a review on that. I want to do more movie reviews for you guys because I'm getting a little bit drained with the toxicity of the reality show. So yeah, so let's go ahead. This is the most current installment of Aquaman. You know how I like to share my screen and show the IMDb. So let's go ahead and go there. All right.
Hi, baby boy. Talking to the fishies? You and me, son, are different. We're special. We're connected to the land and the sea. I can't wait to introduce you to all the majestic creatures on our planet and show you how awesome this world can be. Yeah, you and me. I'm gonna kill Aquaman. Even if I have to make a deal with the devil to do it. Free me from my prison, and all my power will be yours.
The key to this prison is the royal bloodline itself.
He needs us. We're the end of the bloodline.
No, we're not. Yeah!
Manta took Junior.
He must be stopped.
I'm coming for you. We'll destroy everything he holds dear. You want blood? Come get it!
Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom, rated PG-13, now playing only in theaters.
Now, I don't watch I don't have cable, so I have streaming services. So I purchased streaming services. So I don't know how the advertisement went for this, but I know when I went back home, my mom has cable, and I didn't see that much advertising going on for Aquaman. Y'all let me know how y'all feel about the advertisement on it because I honestly forgot this movie was going to be playing when it was scheduled to be playing. And I didn't know it had came out. So when I just so happened to look at my movie theater pass, because I have a membership, and I was like, "Oh, Aquaman's in there." And then it showed that it was in the movie theater for a very long time. And I was like, how come I didn't know this was out? And obviously I seen the preview of Aquaman because I go to the movies often. Well, the last couple of months I haven't, but I go to the movies often, and it just makes more sense for me to have a movie pass because I go a lot, and that's one of the things that I like to do. I'm a huge movie head. So I just didn't. I remember them advertising for Aquaman in the summertime, and for whatever the reason, I just forgot that it was going to be coming out soon. Regardless, it doesn't matter. I did see it in the movie theaters. I wanted to give, support Jason Momoa, his fine ass. I wanted to definitely support him. And honestly, I really do like Aquaman, and I like the character. I really think he plays it really, really well, and he's nice and easy on the eyes. So this movie was 2 hours and 4 minutes. It is categorized as an action, adventure, and fantasy movie. So Black Manta seeks revenge on Aquaman for his father's death. Wielding the Black Trident's power, he becomes a formidable foe. To defend Atlantis, Aquaman forges an alliance with his imprisoned brother. They must protect the kingdom. Okay. They have writers here. I want to see some more about this because I don't actually be. I am so interested to see how these movie houses use AI when it comes to writing and stuff. I'm wondering if there's any regulations to say, like, if, let's just say, for example, James Wan wrote, right? If he used AI, do they have to tell us that they use AI? The reason why I'm saying is I don't know what's going on, and this is nothing against Aquaman, but Aquaman just is falling into that category. The last couple of movies, when it comes to Marvel and DC, it seems like there's no soul in the movies anymore. I don't know if you guys are going to follow me here with what I'm saying with this is. It seems like I don't know. I was talking to my loved one about this, and I was saying that a lot of these movies that are coming out now, it just seems like they are putting a lot of action in it. Some of the jokes is falling short. Like, it's very corny. They're trying to bring back that old school feel of like films. And although technology is a beautiful thing, I feel like it is a cripple when it comes to the entertainment industry, when it comes to film and television, because if they're using AI, I could tell when they're using some kind of AI. It just doesn't it's different when it is a writer, and I feel like there's not enough imagination and not enough um inspiration for writers to create those real classic films. If you look at Marvel movies and DC movies, let's just say 5 years ago, they still had that feeling, that good feeling. And Aquaman fell short. Like, there was a period in the movie where I was just like, this doesn't feel like this was written by humans. This feels like this was written by a machine, and there just wasn't a relation. I don't know, maybe because I'm intuitive. I don't know. It just didn't feel right. I'm not trying to accuse these writers of using AI, but there's a beauty to writing, and you could just tell. I don't know. My criticism when it comes to writing and stuff, because I am a writer, it is going to be very critical. And there are certain things that I look for when I read into things, and even when I see things come to life that is based off of a novel or comic book or whatever type of literature, right? I expect a certain type of energy in the production, and the carrying out the words. We should be able to read You should be able to read some form of literature and be able to envision it. To me, that makes a great writer. And I honestly would want to see their screenplay to see if I could see that, because it could be that the writers, it does come off like that, and maybe it falls short on the production and the directing. I want to give the benefit of the doubt on that. Okay. It just feels like something is missing. There was moments, blotches in the movie. I just was like, the movie could have been shortened. There's no reason for this to happen. Why are we dragging this out? What's going on? And then the corny jokes wasn't landing. It just, it was a mess, which is crazy because the first installment wasn't like that. So I don't know. Let's go on. Let me share with you guys this other trailer, because then you could see the villain in here. You could see what I'm talking about.
It's hard getting into filmmaking.
It's so important to have a team that supports my vision.
IMDb Pro has
I don't want to hear that commercial. And I know it's pretty important information, but I don't want to hear it. Sorry. Okay.
Talking to the fishies? You and me, son, are different. We're special. We're connected to the land and the sea. I can't wait to introduce you to all the majestic creatures on our planet and show you how awesome this world can be. Yeah, you and me. I'm gonna kill Aquaman. Even if I have to make a deal with the devil to do it. Free me from my prison, and all my power will be yours.
The key to this prison is the royal bloodline itself.
He needs us. We're the end of the bloodline.
Oh, I feel like I already showed this. I'm sorry, guys. Feel like I already showed that. I thought that would be a different trailer. So apologies on that. Oops. Let me close that. Okay, now let's go down. What is going on here? Okay. Now let's talk about the production. The production, obviously, they had a big budget to make this movie. I feel like they could have saved a little bit more money. They could have saved some money on it because, again, as I mentioned, there are some parts in the movie that I felt like they should have just cut out because it just didn't flow to me. And it was just missing stuff. It was missing substances. Like the actors they could have built up some of the character storylines a little bit more. There was just missing blotches. I would say like towards the middle and the end of the movie that I was just like, okay, it just wasn't flowing. The movie wasn't flowing to me. It felt like they filmed one part of the film, then they filmed another part, then they filmed a number and then put it all together. It didn't feel like it flowed to me. Yeah. So here's the storyline. Having failed to defeat Aquaman the first time, Black Manta, still driven by the need to avenge his father, nothing to take Aquaman down once and for all. This time, Black Manta is more formidable than ever before, wielding the power of the mythic Black Trident, which unleashes an ancient, malevolent force. To defeat him, Aquaman will turn to his imprisoned brother, Owen, the former king of Atlantis, to forge an unlikely alliance. Together, they must set aside their differences in order to protect their kingdom and save Aquaman's family and the world from irreversible destruction. So, one king will lead us all. Okay, let's look at some of the reviews. Okay, so overall, actually, let me go back one step. Okay, so overall, their rating on their IMDb was a 5.7 out of 10. Wow. I wouldn't have given them that. I would have given them a 6.5 or a 6.7. I mean, that's still pretty bad, but that's what I would have given them. Okay, let's go into some of the user comments. You know how I like to share, not just my opinion, but with other real life people what's on here. A mix of awesome and bad. So I kind of want to Okay, I'll read this, but I'm not going to read too many of these reviews that are long. So it says so many aspects of the movie are a complete mixed bag. One half of the comedy is really funny, the other half made me roll my eyes. I definitely agree. As I mentioned before at the start of this video, I felt like, some of the jokes was really corny and it wasn't landing. Some of the one-liners are good, some made me cringe. A lot of the action is so cool. A lot is a scene full of gibberish. I agree. There are so many beautiful shots and visuals and also horrible cartoonish CGI like in Flash. I agree with that. I enjoy the musical score, but it doesn't reach the level of Black Adams, and I wasn't a fan of using classic rock tracks for a lighter tone, something we're more likely to see in a Marvel movie. Excuse me. Now, I am glad that this person bought this up. I've totally forgot about this. The soundtrack, I need to start incorporating that in my movie reviews. The soundtrack, I didn't feel like was hidden for this movie. I feel like it was a complete miss. Whoever was in the music department was totally not aware of the audience of people that, really like DC movies and are fans of Aquaman. So I just feel like it didn't flow. I think there was like maybe one song that I liked that it went with the scene, it went with everything else. else, but the music department definitely fell flat for this movie. Okay, so 6, half of the time I was invested, the other half I was unengaged and didn't care. I had an okay time with the movie. It benefits from IMAX with the expanded aspect ratio for the entire movie, but in the biggest IMAX around, there were a total of 8 people in my theater. DC seems to be alienated its diehard fans. I feel like Marvel and DC is losing the connection that it once had. Honestly, if we're being honest, I feel like once Stan Lee died, I don't know who took over, who was in place. They're doing a horrible job for like his legacy. And um hold on, I don't want to say the wrong thing. Because I know there's a lot of scuttlebutt about the DC characters used to be Stan Lee, and there was like a big thing where he like sold off rights and stuff. And I know he was starting to purchase some of the DC characters back before he passed away. So I don't know who owns DC. So I'm gonna don't read too much into my stuff. I'm more of a Marvel fan than DC, but the more they're making like movies and TV shows and stuff of DC characters, I'm actually enjoying them, and I do like the two universes. Anyway. So, but I'm not one of those people that's like heavily like into like the comic book and all of that. So yeah, but I've seen almost every DC movie that has been out and Marvel movie. So I'm a huge fan in that regard. But I do need to do a little bit more research. So I'm sorry I can't give you guys a more in-depth coming from that perspective. So I'll work on that for you guys. But this person gave them a 4 out of 10. Ends the DCEU on the bummest possible note. Okay, I'm not going to read everything that they have on there. This person says 3 out of 10. It felt like Aquaman had a day at Disneyland going into different kind of movie theme rides. Oh yeah. Ooh. Now when people write this is like stuff here. Like for you to write paragraphs, you are really, really upset. Okay. 1 out of 10. Wow, that was completely awful. 3 out of 10. Anyone with a functioning brain better pass this one by. No soul, no purpose, no fun. I agree with you on this. I'm going to say yes. Because I felt like there was no soul in this movie. Aquaman and the Lost Script. I'm going to read this for you guys. A script that doesn't have any story to hold it tight together. I feel this way, totally feel this way. It's a very interesting story that discusses many aspects like family, brotherhood, fatherhood, and leadership. But perhaps this was its core problem, that it was trying to be so many things at the same time. At times, I didn't know where the story was heading, which made the story jump from discussing topics like fatherhood to adventure with two brothers who had beef in their past. The film is unfortunately a typical superhero film in terms of expecting what's coming next from events and sequences. On top of that, and with all the chaos, the film rediscusses the villain's story, which revolves around his revenge, but it was so weak compared to how it was in the first film. I didn't feel his presence, nor I felt his evilness. He was supposed to be much stronger here, but I barely felt him. The film also brings back old characters that just all of a sudden showed up in some sequences to save the day and to be the superhero of the act, which felt so weird because that came out of nowhere. The film CGI is okay at most times. It definitely not as good as the first one, but it's for better than most of the MCU latest projects this year, like Anti-Man and the Wasp. The cinematography, unfortunately, gets downgraded, which is something that I was anticipated for, especially after seeing the first part. But I felt like there was no room for that because of how messy the sequences, the story was, especially we were jumping between the past and the future, a lot from one place to another. Not to mention the whole last sequence of the film was good in terms of the action sequences and grabbing the audience attention really got me hooked and interested and uh, wished if the rest was like that. If I could write this is exactly how I feel. I would add a couple more things in here. Um, I definitely agree with them when they said there were so many aspects, how they had the family, the brotherhood, fatherhood, and leadership. Here, how that was basically the core, and then the revenge, right? Um, I feel like his mom, who was Nicole Kidman, she could have played a little bit bigger role in this film. She barely was in this movie. And I feel like they dragged it too long to figure out what was his name? Black Mantra or whatever. What was going on? Like I felt like they should have been quick with it, quick with the storyline. I feel like they should expand it more on how he got his power. That storyline could have been expanded a little bit more. And I wish that Aquaman and his brother would have had more time, a larger scene, and also Aquaman's wife. So yeah, there were some parts that should have just been cut out in totality of this film. Um, I already gave you guys my rating on the film. They spent a lot of money on to make this movie. I feel like he should have had more lines. I feel like it was basic. I feel like that's why, like, they didn't give him enough lines to work with to make you fall in love with this villain, and to make you, understand. Because at the core of it, it really was hurt. He lost his father. Aquaman killed his father, and it was revenge. I feel like his villain story, it wasn't executed in the manner that it was, but I don't feel like it has nothing to do with the actor. I feel like it has to do more so with the directing and with the writing. Really with the writing, because the actor is there to bring the character alive. So if your writing is not um where it needs to be, that person cannot act out something that's clearly not there. So they should have definitely given him more substance. They dropped the ball on it for sure. Okay. Yeah. So this is how I feel about the movie. I still feel like if you guys are DC characters, you should do it. It's not one of the worst DC character movies that I've seen. Honestly, the last worst DC movie that I seen was Wonder Woman. The last Wonder Woman that came out, that was a hot mess. I did not like that whatsoever. It was a waste of time. How do you have a great first film and then your second film is horrible? This one isn't horrible. It's just okay. So it could have been better. But I'm starting to see a pattern with DC. Their first movies, when they're bringing these characters, introducing these movies, at least within the last couple of years, it seems like their best film is always the first one, and then like if they have multiple after that, it's to suck. I don't know if whatever the reason is, they just can't get it right when it comes to creating sequels or trilogies or things like that. So I don't know. Maybe they just need to do some revamping overall at DC and at Marvel. Okay, so that is my review. I hope you guys do watch it, do support the film, because again, it's not horrible. It could be a lot better, but yeah, support the film. Watch it, do a little bit more research on it, and enjoy. But yeah, I will talk to you guys later. Make sure you like, you comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys soon.